Okay. Alright, so where we left off, I just got into the water temple, and I did a bit of a preamble in the last video, so I'm just gonna start making my way through. And it has been a little while since my last upload, and I'm starting to think that maybe it's a subliminal thing, you know, maybe a subconscious thing where I've just kind of been avoiding it just because I know it's going to be a trial. Okay, so that's interesting. We've found Princess Ruto. Actually, far easier than you might have expected. But yeah, she's made it very clear that she's been waiting a long time for us to show up. And yeah, she's all grown up, much like we are. And you know, she hasn't really forgotten what we did 7 years ago. We're as the recipient of the Zora Sapphire. She's not. Ooh. She's not forgotten that we essentially took the Zora's engagement ring, and yeah, technically we're her fiancé in the eyes of the Zora, judging by their customs. And she mentioned how she's already encountered Sheik, much as Sheik indicated that he'd already encountered her. We've got the dungeon map, cool. So, one thing I wanted to mention, I think now is probably a good time, just because you know, I've been reflecting on it since the last walkthrough, last playthrough, and I feel like now's probably the time to mention it. In my last playthrough, I continually refer to Sheik as a she. He is in fact a he. I think when I first started playing this, I always assumed that Sheik was a woman, but yeah, evidently, you know, as part of the story, yeah, he's a man. He's a man. Okay. Now this is a tricky bit, but if you actually if you examine that, oh, apparently I wasn't close. No. Yeah. So yeah, the song passed down by the royal family. There we go. Yeah, you have to examine that, and sometimes you know, I can imagine quite a number of quite a few players will have overlooked that that aspect of the wall with the Triforce on it. But this is how much of the contents in the dungeon is going to change over time. Is that we're going to... Whoa, forgot about that drop. We're going to manipulate the flow of water. I think I may have overlooked something here, but ideally I wanted to land Yeah, I can't remember exactly how we're going to get there, but we have to get to the second level somehow, which I don't think you can do dropping down from that hole. But what we can do is pull out trusty arrows. I think there's a time limit on this, so lining them up isn't too difficult. The game is quite forgiving with your placement on the arrows, generally speaking, so yeah. This will enable us to get into this extra room. I forget what these guys are called. Shell blades. It is kind of tricky. With pretty much every enemy in this dungeon, you will have to switch between just defending with your shield, because a lot of them are spiky and actually quite aggressive compared to some of the enemies that we've fought in the past. As you can see, and using the hook shot just to dispose of them whenever their weak point is available. Come on. Now you're just taunting me. Interesting. It seems like they have a function where they only start to open themselves up when you when you start to move, which I don't recall in the past, but yeah, they can be tricky. You know, this game is coming up to its 20th anniversary this year. Trying not to swear in my videos. Really wanted to then. Oh, come on. Ooh, if I hadn't retracted it then it would have worked. Yeah, coming up to its 20th anniversary, the enemies in this game are actually pretty surprisingly responsive for that era. You know, they act based on your actions rather than just in the way that they're programmed, and rather than just sort of flailing at you. Come on, there we go. Okay, first small key. Nothing else special in here, so. Make our way out. But just be good to note that, yeah, again, there is a certain area up here that we're going to need to return to, but it needs to be dry for a particular reason. So, as you can see, these things are spikes. They're just called spikes. Again, so again, another more evidence of the naming in this game just being a little bit on the lazy side. Yeah, as you can see, the major functions of this dungeon will be that changing the water level is going to be really integral. And we are going to need bombs. In fact, we're going to need the ocarina quite a bit, so I'm just going to rearrange a little bit. And again, it having been a long time since I've actually played through this dungeon, I may be speeding certain sections up just because I will not be doing this in the most efficient way. Not because I choose not to, but because I don't know how to. Might do it. I can't remember whether this is going to be effective or not. No. Shame. I don't think we can get through there. there's something I'm missing. Could try Din's firing it. I haven't shown you guys this trick yet, so now's maybe a good time. First of our magic spells. Okay, so it's killed the Gold Skulltula, but hasn't activated the switch, which is kind of annoying. Yeah, there's I don't think there's a way that I can get through there at this point. No. Access way there. So maybe something just to pick out on the map. That's something to come back to. And you're going to start to see that as I mentioned in the last part of my other video, that yeah, the iron boots do become a bit of a burden in terms of switching them in and switching them out. This is a pretty good example where you have to walk like 5 feet and then take them off again. Also, you know, aside from the fact that it makes no logical sense that you're carrying these iron boots around with you anyway, so you're going to remain as heavy. Link as a character in this physical space is not going to be any lighter because he's still carrying the iron boots around with him. But you know, we gloss over that. It's a video game from the 90s. I'll be honest, I was just kind of hoping that there was a ooh. Okay. This is a place to come back to because I don't actually have the ability to get through there yet. Yeah, I was just sort of fortunate there. I remember that there was a hook shot switch up there. These things can be annoying, but they don't really do much rather than come straight at you. They're not quite as annoying as the clams. I think I do need to go through this door. I was trying to avoid it just to see if there's anywhere else here where I might be able to get another small key. Generally speaking, I like to collect all the small keys that I can before I start opening doors, because for the most part that's how you prevent backtracking, although at this point it looks like, you know, in that sense I'm going to be doing more backtracking. Is this the way that I came in? I came through this way earlier. And you'll find out that this is actually where it gets this is actually where the water temple I think gets the most irritating in the sense that it's not really so much that you have to take the iron boots on and off a lot. It's more so that the dungeon is designed in a way that it's supposed to be really intricate, and because of that, you're not really sure which way you're going to go, because it's a very non-linear way of working. So yeah, I need to try and work out which room I've been in. Okay, so yeah, this one's blocked. That's one, and I've just completely ignored it. I don't think there's much we can do with this at this stage. I think I can push it back. Okay. iron boots. That wow, that's interesting that the Tektite's just actually fallen down. But yeah, from what I remember, that those switches, those kind of the jets of water that you can jump on, are a bit tricky sometimes. I think I need to iron boot myself here. They can be a bit tricky because I think it comes up to a point where they can actually go too high, and then you miss your jump point. So there is like a sweet spot. Ooh, can I do this? To my detriment, I've managed to do it, but oh, come on. I think this one's tracking first, so I do think that should have worked, but yeah, I'm having a bit of a glitch issue here. Again, it wasn't designed for tight spaces. Wow. Is this gonna kill me? I'm not. Again, trying not to swear. Yeah, not particularly well designed, this bit. Just because I think the game doesn't like these close confines in terms of registering a hit. Okay. So I didn't die, at least. It's times like that you think, what have I let myself in for here? And you sort of start to wish that you had taken a time to pick up an extra pink fairy somewhere, because it would be extremely embarrassing if I sealed myself off in that room and then managed to kill myself just because I was being impatient. But this is good, you know. We've, as I said before, you know, to prevent any unnecessary backtracking, really. And I managed to get another small key. I'm trying to remember exactly how we get out of here as well. There's a torrent. I'm pretty sure that I can just angle myself as far to the right as I can, and then even though Link starts to get pulled back, you can get out pretty easily. Tight off of the ledge. Just gonna need a bow for this one. Probably not going to need to inspire again. Yeah, I keep getting that right at the apex, I think, from what I remember. That and if you try and jump into that stream when it's too high, it will knock you back. From what I remember. And now you start to see the monotony that is the iron boot mechanic. Ooh, can I not get out of here? Okay, now that I'm confident, I've got enough keys to get through as many doors as the dungeon will throw at me this stage. Yeah, so we enter what is essentially the main column. And you can see that there's quite a few hook shot points here and there. It does get a little bit freaky in places. Now, can we get? I don't think we can get to that one straight away. There we go. Easily missable. But from this angle, you can see it. I think I do need to raise the water level here. And you know what? It's been long enough that I forget in terms of the mechanics of this whether if you're on say level 3 and the water level's at level 1, I think if that's even possible, whether it just brings it up 2 whole levels and meets whatever level you're at, or if you're lower then it comes down lower. I forget exactly how that works. I think that is right in the sense. Okay. So we've essentially brought it back to where we were before. When we first entered the dungeon, it's up to level 2. And you'll be wondering to yourself, well, why we've done that? Well, what's changed? The real difference is that we have some small keys now, which will become useful. Okay, starting to get some hearts back now. I haven't been through any of these pathways yet. So let's just see if there's anything I might have missed. Come on. I remember that, again, playing this game for the first time, hookshot points are the bane of your existence, because they're never quite within reach. Hopefully, we will come to find something in... Oh, there we go. We'll come to find something in this dungeon that will rectify that issue. Can I hit from here? Oh, I can. Yeah, occasionally you can just hit stuff outside of the sort of target reticle zone. Oh, come on! The game is trolling me now. I don't think I can hit from here, so I might have to just pull out my bow. Oh, there we go. Wow, that's... Yeah, there's actually fair distance there yeah, there's a fair distance there that you can actually surpass the what the game informs you is a reasonable distance for the hookshot. So occasionally it's worth trying, but for the most part, you know, it's you know, to avoid irritation, sometimes it's just easier to use the bow. I forgot about the spikes. Okay. I feel like if this game were any more realistic, yeah, that's an instant kill right there. Falling that kind of height onto spikes, there's no way you're coming back from that. Which is maybe an indication that I'm not supposed to be in this area until I've changed the water level, possibly. Is this the way that... Have I literally just come back the same way that I came in? I think I have, you know. This is why this dungeon gets on my nerves, because you just end up going in the same direction. Yeah, it is, isn't it? I'm not sure why I'm not getting a dungeon mini-map. Usually when you get the compass and the map, I think you get a little mini-map in the corner. Don't know quite why that isn't working out. And usually it's quite helpful. And again, apologies that I'm not doing this in any sort of like efficient order. It has been a number of years. Okay. Now that the water level's raised, you'll see that this block moves with it. And what we can do sink down below it. I think there's a... yeah. Is it like a hidden entranceway below where that platform would sit if it was at the lowest level. Really, really easy to miss that, and pretty sure I had to use it for that the first time. And I've let myself in for some trouble here. Wow, okay. Huh. I'm not sure if hitting the floor has caused them to that's rather convenient that they've just immobilized themselves. And that there's only one of the clams left. God, I hate these things. I may hate... Oh my god. I may hate them slightly more even than... more than I hate the fire in the fire temple. Which is in itself infuriating. Stop it. What I'm actually doing now is I'm kind of leaning one hand across to my thumbstick as I'm prepping my hookshot button with my left hand, which generally speaking on the N64 you wouldn't. I mean you wouldn't need to do that. The keypad, the button layout is at least efficient in the N64. Whoa. Ha. Okay. Yeah, maybe this isn't the right bit. That's interesting. Must be this bit. Yeah, the button layout in the N64 is pretty slick for playing Ocarina of Time. To be fair, the PS4 was not designed for this. Not that I'm knocking Sony, it's pretty cool still that I can actually use it on my PC. I think that's everything. So we got another key. One of the most elusive keys, probably in the game, I would have said, just because that I do find. I mean. Unless you knew that that's there, it'd be tricky to find it. What we can do now, head back out, and I think I can actually, hopefully I won't need 3 keys. Which would be embarrassing. I mean, I'll have to come back to some central point here, which I haven't explored. Probably raise the water level again in the central column somehow that I haven't managed to. And here's about the point that a Tektite can actually, I think, come down from the ceiling up here and hit you. Yeah. I do distinctly remember that. Ooh, can I have that heart, please? Ah. That's annoying. Never mind. Yeah, I have distinct memories of being like, what the hell, game? You're just throwing Tektites at me now. What is this one? Now, see, that's interesting. Yeah. Again, this game will typically play you that. I think it's 5 notes, is it? They'll play the short version of "Oh look, you got a puzzle right," compared to the famous long version of the "You got a puzzle right." Oh, come on! I want to get that heart bit before it disappears. I'm not going to get it. Oof. There we go. So as you can see, we have raised the water level one more. So yeah, sometimes the bar, like if I just open out the ocarina, you know, nothing's really happening. If you're prompted to do something, the stave will come up and play that kind of, you know, short version of You Got a Puzzle Right. Bats. Why are there bats in every this dungeon has been underwater for God knows how long. Why are there bats in here? God, I hate bats. Right. And it's not even Ocarina of Time, it's every Zelda game. Every single Zelda game I hate bats. Yeah, I even remember playing like some of the Game Boy games and yeah. Some of the Game Boy games and thinking, like, why have they made these so annoying? I think I lose a heart for that. Yeah. After you manage to, on that lower platform, I think it lowers and raises, so you have to kind of sit on it and wait for the right opportunity to actually hookshot over to these. These will continually move down, and you just have to kind of hurry your way up and ooh, am I going to make it? No. Damn it. Bit strong on the thumbstick there. This should be fine. Oh no! Okay, so yeah, I'm short a key. It's kind of them to put this extra platform in because you know, a number of players such as me will be backtracking for lack of key. Oh, am I gonna? Oh. If you don't hit those hookshot points in the right area, which is sort of like the upper middle, generally, I suppose any part of the upper section of it should be fine. Sometimes if you hit like too low, say here, sometimes Link he'll hookshot over to it, obviously, but he won't grab onto the ledge, and you end up slipping, and you know you can end up falling into a void in that sense as well. So that's a handy tip to know. Where the heck is that other key? I was pretty sure I checked everything, but oh, in fact, is it that thing that I was wondering about earlier? I think, yeah, this has something to do with oh, come on. This has something to do with having the water level at, I think it's level 2. And I think once you've got the water level at level 2, you can, yeah.
6.5 hours later.
Essentially, I'm going to go back the way I came to systematically change the water level so I can get it back to level 2 again. Because we actually need to come back here. And I will show you, just in case anyone gets a little bit ahead of me. But you need to come back here and get back here when the water level's at level 2, so you can get into that little hidden area there. So the game does kind of give you a bit of a hint. And then obviously we'll need to raise it to level 3 again, just because that's where the current locked door is. So this will take it all the way back down to 0. That always unnerves me every time because it's such a long drop for Link to do. But he's always fine, you know. He's always good, you know. He doesn't need to worry. So go through here. Obviously, it's a lot easier for us to change the water level now, just because we've unlocked a load of doors. And we have a pretty good idea where we're going now. Okay. I think another factor in the whole Iron Boot controversy, and that is what I refer to it as. I'm not entirely sure if that's what the internet refers to it as, but yeah, the Iron Boot controversy is partly that, you know, you have to keep taking them on and off. You have to go into the subscreen to do that. It's also partly because the dungeon is designed in a non-linear way. But I think also a lot of it is just that if you're changing the water level, you are continually playing Zelda's Lullaby over and over and over again. And if you make a mistake, like I did, then you're going to be doing it quite a lot. That's where it gets kind of annoying. Now, God, I hope I'm right about this. Okay, I think I am. Yeah, that's fine. I wasn't sure whether it was actually going to bring me up to the right level, but I think we're good. And I'll be really disappointed if this isn't a small key. So if there's anyone watching who knows Ocarina of Time like the back of your hand and knows that this isn't a small key, yeah, your laughter is justified. Okay. Okay, that's at least spared my shame for the next 2 minutes. Alright. Back to it. I hope that's the only one I'm going to need at this point, because I honestly can't think of where another one would be unless it's somewhere on the 3rd level. So I'm missing something maybe. Let's have a look. I did not think the Tektites would fall down in the water that far. But there we go. Suddenly I'm getting my mini-map. That's really interesting. Why wasn't I getting my mini-map before? Again, it might be an error with the automation. Unless, there are some Zelda aficionados that can tell me automation. I'm thinking about work now because of this stupid email. It might be the emulation. Excuse me. I work in email marketing, so I work with automations. So that's why I'm thinking of that. Yeah, some reason I think the emulation isn't showing the minimap sometimes. Maybe, unless there are some Zelda aficionados that know. Maybe if there's a particular reason why that wasn't showing up before, something to do with the something in the game mechanics or anything like that. Is it this one? Surely not. This Tektite maybe gonna hit me now. Just immediately start shielding just in case he. Yep. Oh no! Oh man, that again. Now I'm sorry. I'm gonna put that down to slightly poor design on the developer's part. Considering that okay, it's one thing that a Tektite is almost certainly gonna. God damn it! It's almost a Tektite is almost certainly gonna come down on you from above, and that's fair game. But to slip down the cracks like that is not very satisfying at all. Okay, it is this way. I'm being completely scatterbrained today. So yeah, you have to stand really close to these things. Yeah, the stave doesn't show up if you're too far away, so that's a good thing to remember if you're having trouble and you're thinking, well, that didn't work. It's because the game isn't registering that you're close enough to the I don't know what you'd call that. The plaque, I guess. Okay, now. I'm not gonna bother with him. So hopefully now we have that other spare key, and that took bloody ages. If I need another one, I'm just gonna cut loads from this playthrough because. Ooh. In fact, I didn't know that you could do that with the bats. I didn't know that you could just run past them and not get hurt. So that's pretty convenient. Right, there we go. Right, now, trusty bow. I think I'm just going to take care of this guy now because I've got a good angle. Ooh, at least I thought I had a good angle on him. Come on, Link. You can do better than that. Right. I think what you have to do is then use your height advantage. To do this. Should be able to hit that from there, yeah. Okay. So again, you can tell, you can gauge the distance with the hook shot pretty well. So if something's just a little bit out of the way, then you should be fine. You just go ahead and try for it. Oh, and you'll see that there's a very similar enemy from... Yeah, you have to be careful of that. The like from... the like that we encountered in the Fire Temple. There's one in here as well. So they like all kind of environments. Okay. I am very cheekily gonna save it here because I know what's coming. And honest to God, I cannot remember how to do this. It's pretty eerie, huh? Okay. Dark Link. So he's dancing on my sword a little bit here. I think he does that every time you try and make a slash, but he's pretty nimble. And again, I don't know. Yeah, maybe the Megaton Hammer, and I'm gonna try bombing him as well. Because I honestly can't remember how to defeat this guy. I only remember that he's really hard. Oh. So he's had enough of playing around. I want to try and get enough distance that I can pull off a spin attack, but it's not letting me do that right now. Okay, so the only way I know how to defeat him is to use Din's Fire. I'm just going to take a quick look at my inventory and see if I can actually... No. But I think the first time I played this through, I think I literally just used Din's Fire over and over again, but let's give it a go. Just sort of falls through the floor there. Oh! Now you'll notice that Link doesn't actually get hurt if you get attacked during a cutscene like that. Oh, did I miss him then? Shit. He's getting smart. Oh, yeah, I don't have enough. Ooh. What else can I do? That's so annoying. I think I'm probably one hit away from him. I'm probably gonna die and have to restart this, so. But it's probably good for you guys to see the game over screen because, yeah, we haven't seen it yet. Oh no! We lost! But, yeah, I think that's going to be my best strategy, really, is maybe if I try and... I'm pretty sure the Megaton Hammer is... Because he doesn't have the Megaton Hammer. So the way that you would do it is that he can't mimic your attacks. So you have to sort of use that to your advantage. Usually, if I sort of start to lose targeting like that, I think it usually means he escapes the attack. But trying to draw him close to the door here, just because it means that he hasn't got somewhere to go when Din's fire comes for him. It's kind of annoying that he disappears through the floor and comes up behind me, because then I can't utilize that to my full advantage. Okay, yeah, that's good. He's getting wise now. Oh! Shit. Forgot that you can't defend while holding the Megaton hammer. Where's he gone? He's have I knocked him off of the have I knocked him out of the screen? No way. I didn't know you could do that. That's hilarious. So you can't attack me. So he'll react in exact... Wow, I did not know this. So yeah, I've pushed him out of bounds. That's brilliant. Excellent. I say that, I'll probably have to restart this now, but... I wonder if that'll still... But yeah, he can't respawn in here. What an idiot. Hopefully this kills him. I'm going to be out of Din's fire, and... Damn. Well, that's unfortunate that I'm not actually able to... Well, I can hit him, but... it's a shame that I wasn't really able to get rid of him with Din's fire. I'm definitely going to be googling this, because I've not heard of pushing him out of bounds before, but I'm sure it's not a difficult trick to pull off once it's been done. Well, there you go. I mean, from what I know, I don't think that I can actually defeat him like this. So, yeah, this is Dark Link out of bounds. Unable to really do sod all. Yeah, so that was interesting. That's never happened to me before. And I suppose in that quick break I probably should have just Googled to see if that does ever happen to anyone else. But to be honest, considering I don't know all the ins and outs of this game, I don't play it nearly as much as I used to when I was growing up. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be a common glitch. I don't think there's going to be anything special to me. Okay, we're not going to need the Ocarina, but I'm definitely going to need Din's fire. Come on. Ah! Okay. Ah, that's a good trick. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. For some reason he's... Huh. He's being pretty unresponsive to my Megaton Hammer hits somehow. I thought maybe it was because I was crouching and then... He's chasing me now. Fuck. Alright. Okay, we've got a good rhythm going now. Shoot! He's really wailing into me now. Yes! Come on. Sorry, I have to cough. Oh man, that took so much longer than I wanted it to, but okay, right. So, didn't use any magic either. It's probably the first time I've ever defeated Dark Link without using any of my magic. And as sort of becomes a, it's sort of, this is more of a basis for later Zelda games where obviously it's not really the case in every dungeon in Ocarina of Time. But in later games, particularly sort of like Wind Waker, from the Wind Waker era onwards, I think pretty much. Hold on one sec. Okay, I thought I was going to screw that up. Pretty much every Zelda game from that point onwards, from what I remember at least, in sort of what you would call the GameCube era, come Wii era, at least. I think also potentially, you know, the Switch sort of era to a point. Actually, no. I mean, no. In fact, the Switch era is probably the you know, the Breath of the Wild has completely done away with so many modern Zelda mechanics that it's really not applicable. But a lot of the dungeon items in Ocarina of Time from the end of Ocarina of Time, I think maybe even from the beginning of Majora's Mask, are acquired after defeating a mini boss. It's not always the case in Ocarina of Time, but you would see there that, you know, you don't get the key item in this dungeon without defeating Dark Link. So, oh, am I gonna get sucked in? Really trying not to here, to be honest. Okay. I've never been sucked into one of those vortexes, so I don't actually know what happens, but I'll be honest, I'd rather not find out. I take it you're supposed to hook shot that, but obviously that wasn't necessary. Ah, okay. So basically, we can't go back on ourselves there, and we've returned to another part of the dungeon. So a little bit like the you can see that's a sort of a dungeon mechanic, you know, repeating back on yourself but a higher location, which was previously inaccessible. It's kind of what happened to us when we were in the ice cavern. So there's a bit of symmetry there, which is interesting. But yeah, we have the long shot now. Basically just a hook shot, but with a longer reach, as is indicated by the name. And that's about it, to be honest. It functions exactly in exactly the same way. Arguably one of the most disappointing aspects of the weapon, because, you know, it's nothing really new. It's just a slightly better version of something you've already got that functionally doesn't actually do anything different. Just has just does what it used to do, but slightly greater distance. So right now we have to sort of consider areas where you know, there's something that we haven't been able to access previously because there's been a hookshot area that's too far away, for example. But the long shot will become extremely useful. As I said, every Zelda dungeon as Adult Link requires a boss key. It's just, you know, there's a lot of backtracking and me trying to find my bearings that isn't much. Oh, here we go. Okay, this is new. Squeeze through this way and turn around. Oh man, it's so hard to direct yourself when you're wearing the iron boots. Yeah. Always magical how those torches light up every time you try it up down here. Don't really know how they explain that, but almost makes me think that the way the game's designed, it could just completely load a whole different area if you do that almost. But I'm sure that's not actually what they do, but it seems like that sometimes. Somewhere we haven't been along here. Again, there's probably going to be something here where I needed the long shot to get through. Just because, you know, coming to the end of the dungeon now, I can. Ah, yeah, okay, it was. I remember now. Funny, the first time I entered this room, I remembered not to take the iron boots off, and now when I actually needed to get around, I forgot to keep them on. Okay. And there's a kind of happiness that I know that whatever comes, I don't have to fight Dark Link again, because he can be a bit of a pain. You know, if you don't know all the ins and outs, he's pretty difficult. Tough customer. Oh, come on. Am I going to be really clever and think I can just get around these guys? Probably going to end up losing a couple of hearts here because trying to be clever when... Oh! Sometimes when the game glitches out a little bit, it's in your favour. Not very often, but you know, we'll take it when we can get it. Where the hell are we now? I don't want to jump down in case it's like a backtrack. No, this just looks like where we're supposed to go. What is that sound? Oh, what the heck? Oh! It's the stingers from inside Jabu Jabu. Clearly they've made themselves at home inside the water temple. God, weren't you annoying enough inside the giant whale? Ah! Oh, I was hoping that would work. Obviously, when Link contacts the water, his sword slash pretty much becomes ineffective. Come on. Anyone who recognises this kind of wall, that is the sound that a fake wall makes. That is the sound that pretty much every other wall in the game makes. So when you know, again, you pick up lessons as you go along in this game, and it pays dividends when you come back and you need to relearn those lessons sometimes. But a fake wall, Goron once told us, will make a different sound. Yeah. What the heck are you supposed to do with this thing? I genuinely have no memory of this. This is crazy. You know, I thought that, you know, it would get to the point that I'd played Ocarina of Time enough that I would remember pretty much everything. Even though I wouldn't remember how to do all the puzzles, I would, at least in some sense. When you look on some of the most recent Zelda games, you know, and it's quite timely, I think, that Breath of the Wild is in this discussion now. How intricate was the puzzle design? You know, I mean, we've spoken that, you know, graphically Ocarina of Time was very much up there in terms of functionality and just general design. Obviously, it was ahead of the game, because see, it's a bit of a pun, but you know, it was outstanding from the day of release in most respects. I know that there's been a lot of talk, you know, that in the press at least, a lot of people said, well, you know, graphically it's not the best looking game. Because to my recollection, I think Banjo-Kazooie came out in the same year, and they said, you know, in terms of certain color palettes, or you know, just in terms of its graphical output, even though it's got a more cartoony design, you know, a lot of the press at that time kind of said, well, you know, it still looks better than Ocarina of Time does. So, comparatively speaking, it wasn't the best, but it was pretty damn good, and functionally it was extremely smooth. Obviously, it introduced the Z targeting, which pretty much came, and you know, the design behind it came to define every Zelda game that would come after for you know, a decade, if not longer. Not to mention a myriad of other games that have sort of imitated its format in one way or another. So you know, it is genre defining, but when you look at the puzzles, you know, this coming up to you know, in sort of 6 months or so, it'll be the 20-year anniversary. You know, how does that actually fare when you compare it to Breath of the Wild? And honestly, the puzzle design is better in the newer games, I think. In some of the newer games, particularly Breath of the Wild, the intricacy in a lot of the puzzle design in that game is just top notch. And I even think that, you know, a lot of people are put off by some of the classic Zelda games, and I involve Ocarina of Time as a classic now. It's been 20 years. Ooh, oh, this is tricky. Please don't knock me off. Oh, god damn tempting. But yeah, I think part of the problem of the old design in sort of, you know, when you think about Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, it doesn't feel as refined. I think. Oh, come on! It doesn't feel as refined in some areas. Aside from the point that the dungeons are a lot longer and require a lot more, you know, of the backtracking of the. Now, I'm wondering what exactly is going on here, because. God damn. Alright, temporarily, you guys are worse than bats. Like, honestly, I would not have thought it possible. I would not have thought it possible, because genuinely, and I'm enjoying slaying you all. Oh, there's an alcove where I was supposed to go and get that chest, which is maybe, quite possibly, where's the boss key? I'll be honest, I'll be so glad when I finish this dungeon now, because part of me starting to think that I was wrong about, you know, I was wrong to say that the Forest Temple was that annoying, because the Water Temple it is far worse. Believe the hype. Believe the hype. It really is that bad. Have I come the wrong way? Damn it. Ah! Oh, you're kidding me. Is it? Seriously? This is why I hate this dungeon. Explains a lot, though. Yeah, nice little trick to get rid of those clams, by the way, is, now that I've had some more time again to go through it, kill a few more of them, is that... Oh, no! God damn. Okay. Let's take stock. There is only one other chest that is blocking this boss key. So I have to get to that chest. So it's on the second level, which means that I'm probably going to have to change the water level again. I think. I think that now that I've got the long shot, I can make my way all the way to the top. Yeah. Without having to raise the water level. So, ooh, you can see the animation's interesting for the long distance. Oh, I can get that skull cooler while I'm here. I think I've probably got about 10 now. I think you get the think you get the adult wallet if you collect 10 and then exchange them. But anywho, what I really want to do... Oh, okay, yeah. I need to go through that door. I remember. Okay. I need to be fairly swifty. Yeah, that's the only way to do that. So you have to have the long shot in order to make that distance. And I believe, because we've previously pushed this block into place... Okay, right. And if this isn't a small key, I'll scream. Okay, you don't have to listen to me scream. And joy, oh joy, we now get to return to the room with all the tektites in it. First floor. Again, I was thinking that maybe I could break the fall damage there, but apparently not. God, I hate that. Yeah, a good trick for the clams. I don't know, I think I got sidetracked previously, but if you can kind of pull out your hook shot just before they're about to open themselves up, and then make one step forward. Just even making a slight movement seems to be enough to encourage them to open up and actually complete that animation. So it says that we can get to the boss room, although in reality, ooh, yes. With all the difficulty that Dark Link gave me. Come on, there we go. I'm glad that I've got a pink fairy just in case the boss gives me any trouble. Oh, well, that's useful. I'm gonna be so happy when I don't have to kill any more tektites. You guys, honestly, the veins of my existence. You know what? Just for fun, I'm gonna slay all of you. There we go. That's extremely satisfying. Oh, you. So I need to get up to that 3rd level. Just checked my the battery on my computer, and I've got about half an hour left, so should be fine. I can't foresee that will be any issue. 'Cause I think we're pretty good now. Oh yeah. Can I? No, I think it's this yeah, it's this central bit here, I think. You've worked so hard. You've really done your best to get to the dungeon boss, and you're so prepared. You're so prepared, and then the game just takes one last chance, one small little chance to troll you. Ugh! Ugh! I never have to look at you again. Ugh. Stupid things. So now he's given us fair warning there that something's coming for us. As is not uncommon in Ocarina of Time, we get a first-person view of the boss itself, which is always eerie. It's always eerie when this happens. Giant aquatic amoeba morpher. Okay. Now, I always thought that for the design of the N64, Morpher is pretty cool looking. What you want to do is sort of angle yourself in a way that you want to make sure that you can lock onto its nucleus here in a way that you're sort of long ways in terms of the direction that the morpher is facing you. Stay away from the spikes, obviously. what I'm trying to do, and failing, is bring her out of the water so I can maybe get her into the corner where I can get a few jump slashes, but she can be tricky. Oh, okay. Okay. Ah! That's part of the problem is trying to set up attacks. Can be tricky. The reason that I'm sort of staying in the corner is because she can do this really dangerous attack where she grabs you and throws you around the room if you get too close. So that's part of the reason that I'm trying to avoid that. Looks like this is going to be a long battle. Yeah, she can't grab you or really touch you while you're in the corner, so that's why it's conservatively it's a good gambit. Maybe the animation didn't trigger there. That you have to kind of get close to it again so that it actually swells itself back into being a part of the arm. Oh no! I've been seized. So this is going to take away quite a few hearts if I remember rightly. It's a really cool animation for the game, but kind of irritating all the same. Again, I think she's probably going to sit there if I don't move. Yeah. Oh no. I'm probably going to need to use that fairy now. That's a shame. That's an interesting animation considering yeah, you die and then Orphan just lets go of your limp, lifeless body. Pretty quick on the attack again. Come on. So obviously, you know, Zelda games have always had sort of boss death animations like that. I think Ocarina of Time is the first one they really became cinematic. I think you could argue. So it is interesting just sort of seeing some of the boss death animations that later games have. The one that I remember being really impressed by was I can't remember the name of the boss exactly, but in fact, just defeating bosses in general in Twilight Princess is really cool looking. Yeah, especially you know you get the pieces of the fused shadow when you defeat those bosses, and there's this super cool kind of I don't even know how to describe it. Almost looks like shards of darkness fusing together in really, you know, hundreds and hundreds of these little points of darkness centering in on one point and sort of fusing together. It looks really cool. This will be our 4th medallion now. Interesting that it looks almost like a snowflake. The rumor I heard previously is that perhaps the water temple was supposed to be actually an ice temple. That's why the animation on the medallion was made first, and then they made changes to the design of the temple itself. But I don't know whether that rumor has been confirmed or not. Just like that, he's gone again. Although just visible in shot. Okay, and this has been a pretty long run through, just because, you know, I knew it would be. The water temple is genuinely that annoying. But if we read this little, when the water fills the lake, shoot for the morning light. Pull out your bow, and it's quite nice that finishing the immediately after you finish the water temple, the sun begins to rise, so it's the timing is engineered that way. At least I believe it was engineered that way, so that people that know that secret can actually do playthroughs pretty quickly. And we're gifted with fire arrows. I just wanted to do that really quickly before the, before the time changes. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And yeah, the water temple, arguably the most difficult and annoying temple in the game, is now done. And I'm going to be doing a lot of editing on this video. But thanks for watching again, and hopefully that was of some help to you guys, or if you just enjoyed seeing me suffer through all that. See you next time. Cheers.